Yo, 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 guys. How are you? For those of you that do not know me, my name is Gonçalo Sá. I'm one of the co-founders of the Consensus Diligence team. And I've been hacking away at Web3 for the past 5+ years. For those of you that do know me, you might be surprised to know that I will not be talking a lot about security today. But I have some cool stories, some cool things to tell you, and some cool news from the Diligence team. So we'll target auctions first. You saw the title, it's Auctions, Coins, and Security. And I'll talk to you a bit about the history of auctions. One of the first documented auctions, or the customary auction in the world was done by the Romans. It's called subhagia, and with the spoils of war after a battle, soldiers would put spears around the spoils of war so that when the land was taken, those assets would be auctioned off. And they did this because this was a very efficient way to do price discovery for the spoils of war, right? They knew that they were not leaving any money on the table. Fast forward a few years into Peniche. Peniche is a city 50 kilometers north of Lisbon, and this is the auction hall in Peniche's port. What is happening right here is an auction. It's an auction of fish that were caught this day. Portugal, and fish auctions in Portugal are a really brilliant and, in my opinion, example of how efficient auctions can be. A fun fact about this is that, in Portugal, all fresh catch, all near shore fresh catch, actually needs to be auctioned off. They will not repossess your boat for a lot of things in Portugal. For example, if I was caught smuggling drugs in my boat would not get repossessed. But if I'm caught selling fish directly to a restaurant, they will keep my boat. So it's a far worse crime to not go through the auction docks than to smuggle drugs. Also, another good property of the things that happen with fish auctions in Portugal is that these people that are right here, this is a selected crowd. So the auction is kind of permission, if you will. And the reason for that is because they don't want brokers in those auctions. They don't want a middleman to artificially increase the prices of fish and just profit off of the work of the people actually doing the work, actually catching the fish. This is what it looks like. Doca Pesca is actually the entity that runs the fish auctions. Peniche is one of 22 ports in Portugal that are allowed to auction off near-shore fresh catch. And the way it works is that a conveyor belt brings out a box of fish. And for those of you that do know what a Dutch auction is, that's exactly what happens. For those of you that do not know what a Dutch auction is, the box will come out. People will have remotes like this when they're sitting in the auction hall. And one box of a specific type of fish will come out, and the price will scroll down until someone clicks it, until someone clicks the remote, which signals to the auctioneer that they will pay that price that is on the TV for that one box. The auctioneer then asks the crowd if anyone else wants the rest of the boxes at the same price, and if there are no takers, the Dutch auction proceeds. It continues. Another really cool thing about the way this entire system works is that the 2% of the proceeds of the fish auctions are actually used to pay for the auction itself, but also for the infrastructure of the ports. Public goods, yay. So it's actually kind of a forceful way to have fishermen contribute to the entire country's infrastructure that they end up utilizing, right? So yeah, like it really works. This really works in Portugal. It has been working for a lot of years. Now, on to chapter 2, coins. I could talk to you about what this is, a rice stone or a face stone, and how it was one of the first tokens that signaled like a store of value, and how we'd created monetary efficiency, and how we'd allowed people not to trade chickens directly for turnips, for example, right? But you probably heard this a lot in 2017, and we're not ICOing anymore, so I won't bother you with this. We just all can believe that like tokens are a great way for us to exchange value, for value to exchange hands in a very, very, very efficient manner, right? And this brings me to the last chapter, which is security. How are we tying all of this together, you may ask? And it's a really good question. So I know Moody is going to talk right after me, and I did not ask for permission to post this here. This is a message from a few months ago in the ETH security telegram. And we were talking about exactly about this. So auditors should consider tokenizing their weekly availability. Every transfer should incur a flat cost in Ether or a stablecoin. The token must ensure this. They should also add an order book to allow buyers to meet sellers. Sounds fair. Up until now, all fish auctions, you know. The taker should pay the flat cost to settle the order, and the order book platform can add an additional percentage-based fee. Public goods, right at the end. Did you see how much it just described fish auctions in Portugal? And this is exactly what we built. So Turn is our answer to Modit and to a bunch of other people in the security sphere in Web3. Right now, it is not yet ready, super ready for launch, but it will be in days' time. And what is Turn, you might ask? Turn is first and foremost a Dutch auction. So just think fish auctions all along, but like what we will be selling is security, is audit slots. So the Turn platform will behave the exact same way as the auction hall that I was just talking to you about in Peniche. It'll be a Dutch auction, it'll have a starting price, it'll have an ending price, and people will be able to bid exactly the same way, not with remotes, but like sitting at home at their computers, sending transactions to the blockchain. Turn is also a semi-fungible token, which means that it's not really an NFT, it's not really an ERC20, it's something in the middle. It will be fungible for determined periods of time, meaning that my service slot, so if I'm providing a service to you and I have a certain amount of units of time, let's say weeks, if I have 8 weeks to provide services to you, during those 8 weeks, time is kind of fungible for me, but it might not be the next quarter. Right? Hence the semi-fungible token, as in during like prolonged periods of time, you'll have a fungible token that represents single time units that live inside there. And it's a conduit of funds. The idea is that Turn will be open to all kinds of services. But we're starting with security, obviously, because that's what we do. We're solving our own problem, and if someone else has that same problem, they're more than welcome to use the platform. But the idea is that, again, it'll behave the exact same way as the fish auctions that I was just telling you about. Like, there will be a platform fee that should and will be used to advance the ecosystem at large. Like, obviously, this will have to be through verticals. For us, the one that is the most interesting use case is security, obviously. But think about it. Like, if there are a lot of designers selling their services on a platform such as this, and I'm not aware of like any public funding that needs to happen in the design space, but I'm sure there's something. Their platform fee would actually contribute to building such tools that benefit all designers, and again, like forceful contributions. And that's it, guys. That's about it. It can. You can reach out to me, Twitter, email, website, anything. No questions. I love you guys very much. Have a good day.
You have a question?
Oh, we have a question. Shoot.
Is there a system of reputation for the auditors that you will be displaying on your platform?
Great question. So there is a commentary built in. We do not have a reputation system. We should have. That's a later problem.
Okay.
We'll definitely solve that. But yeah, I would say that it's very much required for something like this to be successful. Again, in the beginning, this will not be an open platform, so like we're just testing it out. Reputation is not as important from the get-go because like we'll be the sole users for a little bit while we experiment. Afterwards, absolutely. For something like this to exist, we need reputation systems.
Thank you.
So kind of just checking if I'm understanding correctly, these tokens are you selling an audit, and let's say I'm willing to pay $50,000 a week for an audit. I buy the token for $50,000 a week. Someone's willing to pay $70,000 a week, so they have an offer for me. They pay me $70,000. The 20 extra thousand goes to me or to you?
So, again, very good question. Yeah, what you're selling is not a audit. What you're selling is a time unit, hence the name TURN. Like, it's a terrible acronym that I came up with. It's like a time and equivocal representation on an NFT. It doesn't matter. Terrible name. But it's a time unit. So what we're selling, each token, again, like semi-fungible within a period of time, it represents a week of work, right? A week or whatever I want it to be, whatever I define it to be. Like, that part is social consensus, right? Because like, I will be providing the work after all. And so if I say it's a week, it's a week. If I say it's an hour, it's an hour. And so you'll buy off of me the amount of tokens that you need for us to successfully complete the audit. You are able to resell those tokens because they behave as NFTs. So you're able to sell them off on OpenSea, let's say. They do have royalties built in, which is customizable by the seller, basically, right? So you can say that you're taking a 0% royalty fee and just let people trade freely and like probably leave it up to scalpers to raise your prices. But you can also have like a 50% royalty fee. I don't know. Like, it's up to you. It's basically up to the seller. That is all customizable. This actually reminds me that there's another thing came up to me about the transfer. All of this is obviously, again, as I said, like social consensus, and so all of this needs a little bit of KYC, right? Like like when at the moment of redemption, so when I'm about to do the work, the token has a built-in mechanism to lock transfers. 1 week, or again, customizable time frame, but like in our example use case, 1 week leading up to the moment of redemption, to the moment of that you start servicing your customer, the transfers are locked, so that like it actually allows you to go talk to your customer, because again, like social consensus, you actually need to provide the service, and so the transfers are locked so that it doesn't create organizational hell, you know, and it doesn't put too much pressure on you.
Thanks, that makes sense. And the time frame would be kind of the minimum amount you're comfortable with to spend with the protocol in order to understand and do good work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
So the time unit is the minimum that we feel comfortable providing services at, you know, but like the amount of tokens that you would buy definitely isolated cases, like on a case-by-case basis, people would need to buy more or less depending on the amount of code that they're trying to audit.
So in the case that a really complex protocol only bought like 1 week's worth of tokens,
Definitely. I mean, you can do that. And again, all of this is social consensus. This is the idea here is for us to streamline the organizational process of like booking and selling and doing all of that. Obviously, we'll still talk to people. Right. And if you make such a choice, we'll probably know, like it's not like we're selling a lot of these, right? Like we don't have infinite time. So like we'll probably know who you are. We'll come up to you and say, hey, like this is not okay. You know, 1 week is not enough. So you should either buy more or resell it. Thank you, guys.